What's going on, family? Welcome back to another Real Talk. I pray everybody's doing well as we off top. Give the Most High Yahuwah all the honor, the glory, and all praise and worship to the Most High Yah. These banks closing down. This is a video response back to you, Mr. Eric. Very, very powerful email. You want to know my little 2 cents on this. What you see going on, once again, when I always talk about the Antichrist, the beast system, the forerunners of the Antichrist, this system, this world is a system. Digital, you notice I've been talking about digital a lot lately, how everything is, turning over to the digital technology. When you see these banks shutting down, now I will say this, don't believe everything you see and hear. Some of this stuff out here is just, more of a distraction than what's really happening. But there are banks closing down because of the digital online banking. But then you got to realize how many banks have made bad, you got bad loans and poor credit underwriting. See, this is the stuff a lot of us was never taught, just wasn't taught. There's so much information out here, but if you don't tap into it yourself, you're not going to know it unless you got somebody that's really just giving you information. That's a beautiful thing. And a lot of our older people is holding on to the banks. Some young too, but think about it, more of the young generation is more of the technology, if that makes sense. So, and think about this with the house market and when COVID hit. See, let me let me hit you with this. You got to realize, just think if people not buying homes, right? Banks, what do a bank do? They get you to pay the interest first, right? Because they're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs off top first versus the principal. This is how a lot of banks have made so much money off interest. We all know this. Somebody may be listening that don't know this. But just say, like you was talking about in your email, 20 or 30-year mortgage plan, right? Let's just say in this video, 30-year. And I know we all are familiar with this. You got a 30-year plan, right? Well, about 6 or 7 of those years, right? Your mortgage is basically interest in so many ways. And you got 30 years, so let's say about 19 of those years, that's what it's gonna take before your payments that you make really start affecting the principal. Same with a car note. This is how they survive so long off people. Interest. Interest first, principal later on. Now, unless you just wealthy, it's a different ball game. You rich or wealthy. Now you see why a lot of people love cash. Think about our older generation. They didn't care nothing. A lot of them did not care for putting money in the bank. They would put it under their mattress, hide it in the house somewhere, bury it somewhere, put it, inside of an old television or wherever they put it at. Because a lot of our older generation did not believe in banks. Some of them did. Because because even with like we talked about not too long, well, it was probably about last year when I talked about that. Even when you're talking about keeping a savings account, the interest, and it's your money. But they use your money. Think about that. So once again, even with a 30-year mortgage plan, and just say you just making enough to make ends meet, you're gonna struggle. You're going to struggle. And it's a hard struggle. That's why a lot of our older people never paid their homes off. I didn't say all, but a lot of them never got to pay their homes off. 30-year mortgage plan. And when you look at it, when you get through paying for that house, you done bought it twice. Some may say even 3 times because of that interest. Now, more and more people that I know was never able to pay their house off. Some was, but I know more of who didn't pay their house off versus more of who did. Because you think about that, 30 years is a long time. Then who's to say you're going to live 30 years? Look at how many people die in the process of those 30 years. House, and then look at what happens when you can't make the payments. We know the end of this story. So that's why when I look at the banks, I always say interest and principal. They're going to get that interest. And when they can't get that interest, and like I said, if people not buying homes and taking out loans and stuff, or with the digital online banking going on, the bank going to shut down. But even with a car, like, I got a new car, Okay, let's just look at this for a moment. And this is just a real talk video. Make sure the clock's still, okay, it's still going. Because I'm at work, my connection was dropping earlier. But even a new car, 20% value, it loses. Even a new car loses 20% of its value in the first year. And then it's going to lose about 15% of the value each year after the first year, okay? And then I always say it loses about 10% time you drive off. Think about that. Everything is a ripoff. So a car, what kind of year plan you use on the car also, you'll wind up paying twice for that car, 3 times for that car. This is why I love to pay cash for everything, but here's the thing. They taking cash away. Cash is not allowed right now in some places. We see this. And it's going to get more and more of that. Because one thing about the cash, you can't track it. Just think if you got cash to pay off something versus you getting a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan or whatever year it is. You got cash, you just be like, boom. Why you think dope dealers would always use their cash like that? Or big time dope dealers would always find some way to clean that money up. I'll leave you with that.